I see some of the cameras are on. Yeah, thank you. The others are also requested to do the same. I see some of the cameras are on. Yeah. So till the time we start for the new joinees, I'll just repeat the general guidelines once. Please keep yourself muted and only ask questions in the question answer round. We have our speaker, for our guest speaker for today. Thank you so much for joining, sir. We have Mr. Laksh Mittal with us, who is the track chair for Y20's Health, Wellbeing and Sports agenda. So today in the meeting, we present to you the sixth session for the Presidency Dialogue, a G20 talk show series. We have our guest speaker with us, Mr. Lakshit Mittal, and today he will be discussing about building a sustainable future, India's vision for a green economy. I am Anupriya Upadhyay, your moderator for today's session. Without any further ado, let's dive deep into today's session. But before that, a little bit about Amicus Curiae, about G20, and a brief introduction about our guest speaker. The Amicus Curiae is an organization registered under Ministry of MSME Government of India, which aims to cater to the needs of scholars, professionals, researchers, and everybody else in the legal domain. As the name suggests, we are companions to legal aspirants as well as experts with an aim to bridge the gap between accessible information and the aspirant. The huge team at the Amicus Curiae strives hard to apprise its viewers about the indispensable legal news, prime events, essential seminars or webinars across the globe in association with prominent organizations. Talking about the G20, what exactly is it and how is it helping in the growth of the nation internationally? The Group of 20 or G20 is the premium forum for international economic cooperation. It plays a very essential role in shaping and strengthening global architecture and governance on all major international economic and financial issues. This time, India is the presidency for G20. And I quote and unquote Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, India's G20 presidency will work to promote this universal sense of oneness. Hence, our theme One Earth, One Family, One Future. The theme of India's G20 presidency is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or World is One Family. With us to promote this idea of the government of India, we have our speaker with us, who is track chair for health, well-being, and sports agenda for youth. Lakshit sir is an entrepreneur and a tech enthusiast. As a part of the founding team of National Health Authority or NHA that implements world's largest health assurance program, Ayushman Bharat PMJAY or PMJ. He has also led the development of PMJ mobile app and the data analytics team. Sir also runs a special cause organization in Punjab that works towards affordable treatment of cancer patients and early detection of cancer. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. Over to you now. Please, also participants, one request. At last, we'll take questions. So if you have any questions, please wait. At last, for around 15 minutes, we'll be dedicating the time for question answer round. Thank you.
Namaste to everyone. Before I start, Anupriya, help me with the quality of audio and video. Is it good enough?
Yes, sir. It seems good.
Thank you. Okay. So thank you first of all, Amicus Curate, for giving us this platform to engage, to help connect me to all your members and all your members to connect with Y20. And thank you to all of you who have joined. It is such a pleasure to see you guys participate in a weekend discussion. While there are n number of other things that you would have done, this shows the spirit of the youth of India, and this shows the spirit that our economy is going with. Some people I see are raising hands. So if there are any questions, I'll say that we will take in a couple of minutes, right? But do use this raise hand feature in between to discuss a few things. Like we'll keep this session interactive, right? So if there are any burning questions, feel free to unmute yourself, ask a question, or pause me. I'll be more than happy to be interjected, right? So let's with that let's dive directly into the topic of the discussion, India's vision for green economy, right? So as I was saying, the you and the youth is what the who are the builders of tomorrow's economy, right? So it is the you people who have to imagine the economy which is different from the yesteryears of economy. It is you people who have to decide which path the economy will take. We all talk about the concept of a green economy, but do we understand what green economy is? Do we understand how really will we help the nation or the world move towards the greener economy? So these are the questions that we will have to solve, that youth of this time will have to solve in order to build India and the world towards the greener economy. Right. So thanks for your interest in ideating about a green economy, which is absolutely the need of the hour. I happen to be in Chennai today, and I was talking to a few other people here, and believe me, 30% of the discussion that I've had with other people is about climate change, is about how March does not seem March anymore. March is way more hotter, way more on the higher side of temperature than it used to be. Right? So the impact of climate change is already visible. The impact of global warming is something that we've already started to realize. So talking about a green economy is absolutely the need of the hour, right? So what is green economy? The way I see it is that it is the movement from present economy, which is based on the usage and depletion of resources, from this type of economy to an economy where we will have to utilize and promote the growth of green resources. It is this movement that we need to ensure as the young people that we strive and we take this movement in a very cordial, in a very peaceful, and in a very accommodative manner, where the growth benefits are not reduced, where the beneficiaries of growth are have are spread, expand to, and people who have not yet benefited from the growth of the economy do benefit from the growth, but at the same time it is not challenged in terms of the changes that we are seeing in terms of the climate and the global warming that we are seeing around. So how do we really build this economy? How do it's easy to define a green economy, but how do we build this green economy, right? So I would like to highlight on three major tenets. First is that since we're talking in a year that where India is leading G20, where India is presiding over the prestigious G20, which has the world's largest powers. I guess you guys know the percentage of economy that G20 contributes to the global GDP. Please raise your hands who know what percentage it is. Can I have a show of hands? It's evening session, guys. I hope you have had your teas, coffees, and you're not sleeping.
Sir, I think we have a couple of responses in the chat box.
Yeah, perfect. So 85%, 86% is what the contribution of GDP to the global GDP is what G20 countries put forth, right? And 66% is the amount of population that G20 countries have in terms of the global population, right? So this is what India is leading this time. And what makes this presidency special is that is India's culture, right? Is the Indian values of living in sync with the environment, is the Indian ethos of being very enlightened about our surroundings and not just be focused on our individual selves, on our selfish needs. It is about the coherent development of inside and outside. This is what India brings to the world. This is the uniqueness that India has, or the Eastern culture has, and it puts forth to the world. The climate change essentially has been a Western problem that has been created by the Western economies. We'll delve into this deeper in a bit, but this is what will this is what differentiates us from rest of the economies, and this is what we need to put forth to the world in order to provide the world a vision and an action plan for a greener economy. Second is technology. You see, a lot of the climate change that is happening is because of the usage of primitive conventional resources. And in order to move to a better, to a greener economy, we will have to see what all technologies are available, and we unearth the resources from these available technologies, and also develop newer technologies which unearth the potential that has been so far not tapped. So technology is certainly one area that we really need to focus on, and India has the potential to develop this technology. We have a voluminous services sector. You guys would be familiar that majority portion of our GDP comes from services. Does anyone know? Can you guys raise hand if you know the percentage share of services sector to India's GDP?
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt. I guess there's some network issue from your end. If you can raise your volume a little bit.
Yeah,
That
let
would-
me.
yeah. Thank you, sir.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, this is slightly an unplanned visit that I'm having to Chennai. So there might be slight glitches, and thank you, Nupriya. Keep bugging me in between if there are these issues, right? So, I was asking, do you guys know what is the percentage share of services in India's GDP? Anyone?
I would request the audience to please type in the chat box if you are uncomfortable unmuting yourselves, but kindly respond. So we have some responses in the chat box.
Okay, Prashasti says 50%, Aditya says 60 to 70.
54.9%.
54.9, Siddhartha says. Okay, so roughly you guys are saying that it's the majority, right? So let's see that you guys do realize that the majority share of India's GDP comes from the services sector. It is roughly around 60%. As far as I know, if the data might have changed, it is like slightly 1 or 2% here and there, but it's nearly about 60%, right? So this services sector is basically what will drive tomorrow's technology and innovation. This services sector is what will derive our movement towards a greener economy, and this is our potential that we have to unearth in order to give the world a vision for a greener economy, right? And the third change of this how is the lifestyle change, right? So far, the world over the generations that have lived in a resourceless childhood, right? So to put it's a slightly harsh term to use, but so far it has been a resourceless childhood. We are the first generation of people who have lived in a resourceful environment, right? So we have accommodated ourselves into living a very resource rich life, but it is our generation who will have to ensure that there is a lifestyle change which is in sync with the environmental needs, and which is in sync with what the environment can provide us, while we stop to destroy the environment, which our previous generation had to do because they had to better their living standards, right? So these are the three things that I feel are important to bring in order to build a green economy. Now, climate change is a world problem, right? There is one another factor that I want to highlight. So, in order to push India's vision and India's thought of what climate change is a world problem. And when I say world problem, it is mostly a Western problem. It is Western problem because India at this point has a per capita income that is way less than many countries, right? India's per capita emissions are way less than many countries that the Western countries have. India's historical contribution to the climate change
Hello.
currently is absolutely negligible. India might be
Wait,
the
wait,
third
wait.
largest polluter today,
Hello.
but it hasn't contributed the major share of to the climate change that we see today. So, and
Yeah,
the
what?
Western countries are trying to push a propaganda where they say that it is developing countries which will have to take onus of accommodating to the climate change, and they will have to take equal footing to bring about climate change action plans. While India is a moral and an ethical desirable superpower, we are taking what is important and we are taking the steps that are required. But we do have to realize that common but differentiated responsibilities, the position that India has taken, has come from a gross historical neglect of countries like India, which have not been able to develop as much as the Western countries have been able to. So
पूरा
it is
notes
not.
में इसका तो
It is not. We have not been the ones responsible for climate change, but we are taking the responsibility of accommodating and adapting to climate change. But at the same time, we need to push the world, the developed countries, to provide a lot more finances, to take a
ये
lot more
पार्टी की
onus
बात है
to build greener economies going forward. Right. Lastly, I would like to highlight a
इधर
uh,
जाने
few points that India has done, a few programs that India is running absolutely at an ambitious level, at a scale that the world over is unimaginable, and it has been doing this at a speed that the world has been unable to match so
कौन
far.
से ये
Right.
एक
So
दिन
some
कुछ
of
छोड़ दो
these things point the India's scale and the India's orientation to plug the gaps that there are in order to build a greener economy. If you see, India has one of the highest targets in the world to generate renewable energy. We have a target of 175 gigawatts,
कौन से
which
ऑथर
we
किसी
are
का
about,
स्पेगेटी
we have
वो
reached
फ्लेवर
about
जाने
130, 135 gigawatts, and we'll soon reach the 175 gigawatts as well. This renewable energy is what will power our houses, our factories, our machines tomorrow, while the other countries have essentially used coal-based power in burning in burning their household resources, right? So this is what we have already
6
implemented. Second is the solar energy. We have taken the lead, the initiative to build an international solar alliance. While the countries world over are not able to fully utilize their extra electricity generation potential, and there are countries which are struggling to generate enough electricity for their perusal, we have taken the lead in order to set up an international solar alliance, which can, take the fluctuation demands and the differences between the need and the demand and the generation of electricity of solar electricity. So we have set up that international solar alliance in order to push us forward. Third is the Vision Hydrogen that we have launched at a very aggressive scale. We are pioneering R&D and adoption in
ये
these
तो
fields.
ना
We are pioneering what
हाँ
how hydrogen can be utilized in a way that it fuels the economy of tomorrow. We have taken ethanol blending stand, and we have raised the ethanol blending of fuels up to the level of 15 to 20%, which is helping us decarbonize our economy. We have pushed towards a gas-based economy. The countries so far responsible for climate change uh, have been taking coal resources and burning, and there's a huge backlash if any country today, developing countries today, develop their coal resources. So we have already started to take the steps to build a gas-based economy. We have started to gasify coal. We have used the financial markets very well. We have Indian countries are going out to other financial markets and generating resources with the use of green bonds. So these green bonds are helping countries innovate and develop green economies technology. We have also seen
हाँ
that
इसी को दो
agriculture, contributes a great share
बोलना ना बोलना बात
to the climate change. So we tried to mitigate and try to address the wasteful use of urea beyond agriculture. So we've
यार
started with
दे
something
जरा
called
ये
neem
कैसे
coated
मतलब
urea, which is an absolute success. Since 100% of urea these days is being neem coated, and its spill over to other sectors than agriculture has been tapped. We have diversified agriculture and announced 2023 as the International Year of Millets, if you might be aware. So these millets are
इधर
what will
तेरा
help us
इंडिया
take our per inch of area, carbon emissions per inch of area to a minimum level. So we have also tried to inculcate this already. We have launched a PM Kusum Yojana, which is helping farmers generate electricity at their farms, and it will increase the income of farmers and also provide resources for irrigation while it dieselize the agriculture sector. We're developing waterways, we are pushing for electric vehicles, and we are also taking steps towards circular economy with one charger policy, with vehicle scrapping policy. These are some of the efforts that I'm trying to list. You will find a host of efforts beyond this that we are doing, and we are leading the world and trying to show the world of how a green economy can be imagined. So India is leading, but it will not be as effective without the participation of youth, without the participation of you and me and us, right? So there is a relation between youth and climate change. We need to realize, as I was highlighting earlier, that we are the first generation to handle climate change mitigation, adaptation, and rehabilitation. There are going to be a lot more conflicts due to migration because of climatic reasons. So how do we really adopt? We have seen that earlier generations have not been very successful at accommodating rehabilitation, at accommodating climate migration or migration due to other reasons. So how do we build a framework where we adjust or where we accommodate migrants to our regions in a very peaceful manner and realize that climate change is something that is no one's fault and that is happening, and it will lead to migration to other areas, to other areas, and it might also lead to migration of us to other areas, right? So how do we really build resilience and ensure that there is smoothness and there is peace that is ensured the world over? Then the second point that I was also highlighted earlier is that there is rising materialistic desire, but change in lifestyle is a necessity beyond our wishes. We need to start thinking how really can we, fulfill our desires while being in the limits of what the environment can provide for. And thirdly, we need to innovate in the policy area. This climate change policy area is something that the world has to experience over. This is an area where we cannot rely on anyone but us. We need to step forward to see what are the policy solutions to these problems that we are seeing. What are the policies that we can bring in, let's say, transportation sector, which does not cost people jobs, but which also ensures smooth migration of the transport sector into a greener sector, which ensures reducing carbon dioxide levels. So we need to we need to innovate and solve, and this will require us to build an understanding of geopolitics, of history, of economy, of societies, of is what can guide a stable policy architecture. A stable government and a stable policy direction is what can guide a good policy direction. So this is something that we need to see, and this is something that we need to start trying to do under India's G20, and we need to take the lead in this to guide the future of the world through G20, and this is where we need to use this platform very well. With that, I'll rest my monologue. There might be a few sound glitches, I understand. So please feel free to ask if you want me to repeat anything or if you have any questions.
Condemn three parts.
Sir, we have a couple of people who have raised their hands, so I would just speak out their names and then they can ask their queries. Right? Okay. Viruk Mandal, could you please ask your query?
Hello, sir. Hello, good evening, and thank you for such an amazing session. Sir, I would like to say that how this population, why we are not able to controlling the population of India, and how this is affecting the climate change, and like two-child policy, which is absolutely necessary, because the way the population is increasing, it will affect climate and overall all the aspect we are discussing right now.
Creative
So
principle
can you please
challengeable,
shed
not
some light
argument
on
code,
that?
but supportive of fundamental rights, right, sir?
Sure. Thank you, Viruk. That's an amazing question, right? And we do see that a lot of problems that we face, population becomes an inherent problem that we feel that we need to solve. But I have a slightly different stand to what you said, right? So India has already done a great deal of work on reducing its fertility rate. If you see the latest data, the latest National Family Health Service, our fertility rates are down to about 2.2. and the replacement levels are just 2.1. So and we are about to flatten, right? So our population growth rate is absolutely going to decrease versus the countries that actually implemented very strict, harsh policies such as two-child policy or a one-child policy. They are seeing a very uncertain and a very difficult demography to deal with. They are now forcing, and they have now started to realize that you can, restrict couples from giving birth to a young, but you cannot force them to give birth to a young, right? Their average age is suddenly rising. Their economies have not been able to build as much as they would have wanted it to. So we have to realize that population is not a burden, it is a potential. We need to start unleashing. So if you see in terms of G20, right? So if you leave China away, India's young population is more than the collective population of all other countries. All the countries, major countries, all, especially the developed world, is aging. They need the potential of this young population. They need this demography, right? Which is available to us. So it is a potential that we need to start unearthing. We have already started to do so a great bit. If you see the unicorns that are coming up, right, that is something that shows the potential of the young population. So today you have about 107, 108 unicorns with the current population levels. Going forward, why not have thousands of unicorns, right? And why not have unicorns from the rural areas? Why not have unicorns from the tier 3, tier 4 areas, right? So this is population is not really a challenge. It is a challenge in certain areas, and I will not be over optimistic on this. But the way we have dealt with this so far has been absolutely path defining to the world. It is we have not used a forceful method. We are a democracy. We realize family values, and we realize that demography is a very complex subject to deal with, and we are about to reach a replacement level. So our population is going to stabilize. Just that we need to ensure that the existing population upskills, the existing population brings the best to their economy and contributes to economic development.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now we will take the another question. Suprana, are you here? Suprana. Okay. Prashasti, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Please ask your question.
Good evening, sir. Sir, my question is actually regarding that so much schemes are related to development of India that by the day or at the end of every month we see one or the other scheme launched by our Honorable Prime Minister. So, with so much population of our country, there are always some loopholes left behind these schemes, and the major one is the implementation of these schemes. Every person cannot get through it. So, what are the steps that are India taking through the implementation of these schemes? Because there are too much, and the population is also too much. So, every person can't get through these schemes or get the benefit of it. So, what the steps are India is provided for these implementation?
Yeah. Again, a very good question, Prashasti. Thank you. I would like to highlight. I would like to start by adding to your question, right? So like in about 80s, one of the very senior leaders in the country said that I send 1 rupee from Delhi, and when it reaches the ground, it is just 1 paisa, right? So what you're asking is nearly this question, but I would like to now highlight the difference that we have been able to bring in the last 3 4 decades, right? In the last 8 to 9 years, we have yearly sent about 26 lakh crore rupees of subsidies to people, and this has reached directly to their account without any spill over to unwanted places. And this has been achieved with the use of direct benefit transfer architecture. That we have the Aadhaar framework, we have the JAM Trinity, Jan account, Aadhaar, and mobile. We have the JAM Trinity to ensure that there is no spillover and there is absolute, straight transfers from directly the government to the beneficiaries, to the intended beneficiaries. In fact, so this technology is what has helped us cap the leaks and I would say, remove the leaks in the last few years. There are a lot more steps. I was talking about neem coated urea. We saw that urea was spilling over from agriculture sector to other sectors, and it was creating a lot of loss of price differential. Not reaching their intended beneficiaries, so it was leading to lesser agriculture productivity, etc. So we solved this problem through neem coating urea, and now it is being used in the agriculture sector, and also it has reduced the quantum of usage that we have in the agriculture sector per inch of land, and it has also raised productivity, right? So this is another technology that we have explored in the recent times. Other than that, if you see the way we have been able to deal with things such as the MSME growth. There is this recent policy which production linked incentives, PLI, which is called, right. So it is directly linked to micro monitoring of how production is increasing, and then incentivizing based on the production that has increased since the time they started. So, and this is done with the absolute good use of technology. So technology, I would say, is definitely one area which ensures that we do not have any leakages, and we do not have any, and the money reaches the intended beneficiary. The second thing is stable quality, right? As I was highlighting earlier, we need to ensure as youth. It is a slightly saddening, concerning fact that we are the educated youth. Our generation is the one that is empowered, but our political participation has been reducing. Our percentage, voting percentages, are lower than other age buckets, right? This is of concern. If we really want to lead the world and provide world the solutions that we feel the world needs, we need to start participating in the political sphere, and we need to start electing a very stable polity so that it can implement these schemes with certain certainty that will ensure that there is no spillover.
Sir, thank you, but I want to put another question over here. That if let's take a hypothetical situation that if technology was not able to reach India so far as of today in 2022, then what would be India's next step about it?
Prashasti, for a hypothetical situation, I don't know. I'll have to go to an hypothetical situation to maybe see how we would have done. See, technology did not exist to this scale, maybe pre 2000s or pre 1990, right? So, and we did see that there were issues that we were not able to tackle, right? So, these are complex issues. At this point, technology definitely seems one of the you know glaring
Yeah.
solutions, or one of the easy solutions to do. If technology was not available, maybe we'll have to innovate. We'll have to see what direction we take, because we are a very complex society and a very complex democracy. Right? We'll have to understand that any solution does not work in a singular way. Right. So even if technology is something that we're using, it is not just the use of technology that will ensure full transparency. Right. It is the governance has to take up, the bureaucracy has to take up, the politics has to take up, the society has to adopt, right? So all of that has to go parallelly. So maybe it needs more awareness, maybe it needs more enlightenment at the levels of the voters. I don't know, like maybe it will depend on what exactly the problem is, and then the solutions will have to be done.
Okay, sir, thank you. Totally agree. Thank you.
Thank you, Prashasti. Thank you, sir. We have Suprana with us. So, Suprana, can you unmute yourself? You are not audible, Suprana. So, you can maybe till the time we take the next question, you can type your question in the chat box. By the time, do we have any other questions? You can unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand. Also, sir, we have received 2 to 3 questions personally also. So our team has received some of the questions. I would want to answer. I would want you to answer a few of them. The first question which we have received is that youth of the country in present times cannot function without artificial intelligence and social media. So if we can, like social media is the new reality, is what the youth believes in right now, be it Twitter, be it Instagram, be it any social media platform. Even on Twitter, the government is very active, different governmental organizations. So how do we connect social media, artificial intelligence, and green economy to join hands for betterment?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, I love the questions that your guest has giving. See, social media's power lies in the way it connects us, right? The ease of mobility of information, the access of information has absolutely, magnified. Uh, a person who is living in the absolute remote areas in the remotest of villages has the same level of information that a person in the metropolitan area has, right? So this gap, this reduction in the gap of information that people have access to is something that we will have to utilize to make this lifestyle change that I was talking about. There is something called a life movement, right? Lifestyle for environment. We will have to aware people of how to really adopt to this and how to inculcate the lifestyle changes that are required in order to live in a climatically changed world. So social media is a tool to generate that awareness, to generate that knowledge, to share that knowledge with others, and to also innovate in terms of you know the politics that we were talking about. So let's say we know that there's a political spectrum that exists in the country, right? So one side of the political spectrum opposes nuclear energy, and the other side kind of tries to push nuclear energy. So what is the right balance of nuclear energy that we need to have in our energy mix, right? So this is something that has to be absolutely debated, and this is something where we have to use social media in order to get towards a greener economy. Artificial intelligence, I said, we see that there is a lot of there is a lot of growth coming in from like cloud architectures, right? So if you do, cloud architecture has eliminated the need for a lot of underutilized capacities world around, right? A lot of underutilized capacities in terms of storages, in terms of computing, and in terms of the processing powers, right? So this gap that has been bridged with the use of technology, with the use of artificial intelligence, is something that we need to build further on. We need to see what are the untapped areas, what are the areas where we're not being able to fully utilize the potential, or where we have generation of excess wasteful resources, and implement artificial intelligence in those areas to smoothen out the process. There are a lot of things that coming up, such as how to easily navigate through a store to buy your groceries. So these are based on artificial intelligence technology. I'll just give an example here. So how this ensures that there are minimum number of people in a grocery store, and the grocery store consumes the minimum amount of energy at any given point of time, right? And the amount of time that any consumer spends in the grocery store is minimized, right? So this is what the artificial technology framework can enable us, and this is how it can help us achieve a greener economy.
Thank you, sir. We have another question from Joy. Joy, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. Hello, sir. It was a wonderful session. You gave insights in various topics, various issues pertaining to climate change and green economy. So my question is, sir, that we are seeing rapid urbanization in tier 2 and tier 3 cities past 3 to 4 years. So my question is that with rapid urbanization, the natural wetlands are getting depleted. Wetlands such as Ramsar site, wetlands like Deepor Bill, the city that I belong, Guwahati, we have a wetland called Deepor Bill. So around the Deepor Bill, rapid urbanization is happening. So as a result, the rainwater doesn't seep and doesn't reach the groundwater levels, and it clogs. And as a result, we see artificial, rainwater in penetrating our streets. So how to tackle this situation?
Yeah, thank you, Aditya, for your question. Guwahati is a great city. I was just there the last month and absolutely love the uh, weather and the greenery there. Right. So, very good question again. See, we have to realize that the priorities that we had defined for ourselves were not the priorities that we have today. Right. Our idea of building bigger cities till yesteryear were in accordance to providing facilitating resource consumption to people. Now, once these people have reached to a particular stage of resource consumption and there is a certain standard of lifestyle that we have been able to ensure that people have, we need to really focus on better urban planning. Urban planning is something that we have been that has not come to the mainstream Indian mind, right? So we need to see what are the solutions of developing urban centers. We are a way lesser urbanized country than what developed or the other developing countries are, right? We need to urbanize greater. Urbanization is something that facilitates a greener economy, right? I absolutely believe in that fact. But we need to ensure that the rapid urbanization that we are seeing is in sync with the environmental needs, that we encroach lesser number of environmentally sensitive areas, that we develop in a way that we use the barren lands a lot more than what we are doing. We need to see what the right solutions are, right? And this is something that is absolutely on us, the leaders of today and tomorrow, to decide how we ensure urbanization, how we ensure that the resources that are available with urbanization are available to people, but this is in sync with the environmental safety measures.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So Suprana has posted her question and she asks, a major component of green economy is sustainable energy, which is way more expensive than fossil fuels. So the economies which do have the opportunity to make a switch should definitely avail it. But what about the poorer and the developing economies who can't afford it? They shouldn't have to give up their only shot at a better quality of life. It's a bit of conundrum. Can you kindly provide some insights into this?
Yes, absolutely, Suprana. So I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. So this is what I was trying to highlight during the discussion in the earlier part as well, right? So the developed countries has to take a lot more responsibility. They need to take the lead in facilitating movement towards a greener economy in the developing and the underdeveloped countries, right? So a lot of the resource poorer countries need that support to ensure that there is proper development, that the populations in those countries is able to reach a certain economic and lifestyle levels. And for that, the Western countries need to start taking the onus of climate change that has happened so far. They need to start and fulfilling the international commitments that they have made. But having said that, that is one part of the answer again. The second part is that if you see today, I don't know if you know, but you do search about this, that the solar electricity prices that we have today are about 60% lesser than coal energy prices that we have today, right? So recently, the solar plants that have been set by major companies, they have bid prices about 2.4 rupees per unit, while the coal-based plants, they bid prices in the range of about 5.5 to 5.5 to 6 rupees per unit, right? So, and this has been possible due to the smoothness of policy implementation, due to the clear direction of policy, and due to the scale that India or other developing countries provide. So we need to start utilizing the scale. We need to start seeing what are the innovative policy measures that we can take to bring down the cost of greener solutions in itself, and not be totally reliant on the Western countries while we keep showing the Western countries a mirror to pay up for their needs.
Right. I think that answers your question, Suprana. Yeah, she has posted a thank you. Now we have one more question which has reached to us. It is about how can we connect, what are the career choices in this area? How can we connect these two things about green economy being as a career choice, and how we can at the same time being employed to it, how we can uh, pestle ourselves for
Airports connect boards.
contributing towards the greener economy.
Yeah.
Airport
Uh,
connect boards.
so, see, greener economy is something that no one knows, right? So, this is something that we were discussing
Gara
in
rank
previous
signal
session.
airport
Green
connect board
economy is something that remains undefined, right? So, what this uncertainty brings about is that the current skills that we have will have to be continuously shown up in order to build a greener
Events are
economy
now
that we everyday change, whose definition we everyday change with the
E.
developing needs. So one is that you upskill yourself in terms of, like, let's say today someone has learned driving and has started to drive a cab, right, which runs on diesel.
Airport se gara.
Tomorrow they might need to shift and adapt to a place where
Hello.
most of the cabs or most of the cars are electric vehicles or driverless maybe, right? So how do you ensure that all these drivers that are employed today continue to be employed tomorrow, but there is significant skillment, so that there is smoothness in terms of transition to a greener environment as well as to the changing technology architecture, right? So definitely we need to see what are these skill sets that are going to be more valued in the days coming forth, and upskilling, since the technology is evolving at a scale that has been hitherto unimaginable. So upskilling also will have to pace up. It cannot depend. We are not no more living in a world where we could take a job and do it till our retirements. We need to upskill every day to see what can be done. And at the same time, green economy is also opening up newer pastures, right? Let's see, we all see a great amount of use of plastic bags to carry our goods, right? And a lot of startups are coming up, a lot of solutions are coming up in terms of bamboo packaging, in terms of paper packaging, right? These are the solutions that will become the job creators or the job providers of tomorrow. So we need to start seeing these solutions. We need to start building on these solutions and provide ourselves and others these job opportunities in these areas.
Thank you, sir. We have one question from Prashasti in the chat box. So she asked, this time India is hosting G20, so how can we as youth contribute to its successful completion?
Just give me 1 second before I answer that, please.
Sure.
Sorry. Yeah. So, see, youth is, as we were discussing earlier, what are the niche areas that India brings to the world table, and one of that is the young population. We are the country with the highest youth population, and in order to make G20 a success, the youth is the core or the integral part of it, and which is why we have a Y20 engagement group that I am fortunate and I'm thankful for having given the opportunity to be a track chair of, right? So we need to see what are the solutions or what are the challenges that the world faces, right? A lot of the challenges in the world currently stay out of the radar of these international bodies because there is an existent mindset, and which keeps pushing on the problems that have been unsolved so far, and it fails to identify the challenges that are coming forth, right? So we as the youth need to start seeing what are those challenges that these international organizations have not been able to answer or have not picked up as their priority area so far. So that is one thing where we need to start thinking. The other thing is, as youth, we are the people who have that technological edge, or who have that innovation potential. So we need to start innovating, thinking, and seeing what the policy architecture of tomorrow is. We all of us keep hearing, right? Like a lot of the laws were made in the 19th century or in the early 20th century, but we are continuing to carry those today. We need to start seeing a future with updated laws that are in sync with our demands, with our needs, and we need to start preparing ourselves. So bring in those solutions to this platform, to Y20, to G20, and it will be our collective responsibility to ensure that these become political and policy priorities.
Right, sir. Thank you. So we have three more questions. So we will just I would request the participants to quickly ask these as we might run short of time after this. So, Amisha, can you please ask the question?
Good evening, sir. Thank you, sir, for this wonderful session. I would like to ask you, sir, that do you anyways believe that the initiatives taken by governments such as Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India are some way going to help in the green economy and like the sustainable thing which we are concerned about right now?
Yes, absolutely, Amisha. These policies have not been, set and have not been decided with a view of the past. These have been decided with a view of the future, right? So these are the areas which, and these are the policies which have analyzed the current geopolitics, the current geoeconomics, and which have analyzed well the requirements of India of today and India of tomorrow, right? So we have such a great demography. I keep highlighting demography because it is very integral to our economic development going forth, right? We have the market that is required in order to build businesses of tomorrow, in order to build sustainable businesses of tomorrow, right? So these are the uh, this end market potential is what we need to start building on. Atmanirbhar Bharat is something that is we need to start realizing that there cannot be another country's solution which is implementable in our country, right? Every country has its own path. No country has been able to replicate another country's path, and no country will be able to replicate another country's path because of the inherent, inherent skill sets or inherent, potentials and inherent challenges as well that each country has, right? So our democracy, our federal structure is way different than any other country in the world, and so is every other country, right? So we need to see this difference, and we need to utilize our potential to the max, and we need to reduce our challenges to the minimum in order to build
Thank you, sir. I totally agree with you, sir. Thank you.
We have Upneet with us. Upneet, can you please unmute yourself?
Hello. Hi, sir. It was a nice session and informative as well. My query is not regarding anything. I just want to know we as an individual, means I, we, you, everybody, how can we contribute tiny little efforts to help? I mean, like small things like they were talking about the schemes. So there are food schemes. When they get implemented in the end, what people do is people who are affording, even they get those cards made, the blue cards and all. It's our duty as an individual to drop those things if we are affording it. Why not to keep those rationing for the people who cannot afford at the end of the day, who have no food at the end of the day? But I think everything that the lagging where the nation our nation lags is, we individually aren't contributing to it. So what do you think that we can contribute tiny little efforts in which respect we can do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the area that I was highlighting earlier was that we need to think beyond ourselves, right? But there are areas where we need to think beyond ourselves, right? So you're asking exactly the question of what I highlighted, and it's a very very valid question, right? If you see the government of India used to run a very large gas subsidy. This is under the cooking gas subsidy program, right? And the honorable prime minister asked people who are well-to-do, who do not really require the benefits of this subsidy, to give up, right? And it is such a great thing in our country, right? That people came forth to say that okay, we do not need this subsidy, right? We do not need this help from the government, and we are atmanirbhar enough to take this up for ourselves and to pay out of the pockets for what we consume. And what this help do us would do is that it helped provide 8 crore gas connections in the name of women all around the country, right? So it is these measures which, at our individual levels, will constitute to make a larger impact at a macro, at a country level, right? So we need to start seeing how I can reduce my carbon footprint every day, right? Can I take a public transport in place of the private transport that I use, right? Can I switch off any lights? Can I safe water, something that has been taught to us way back in school, but we forgot in our memories of growing up, right? So that is something we'll have to go back to school, we'll have to go back to classroom, and we'll have to say to ourselves that okay, this is what is the need of the hour, and this is not what we need to start doing.
Yeah, every drop fills an ocean.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Preet, for a great question. Thank you, sir. We have, I think, Avirup wants to ask something.
আচ্ছা আমাকে একটা কথা
Avirup,
বল
are you here?
আমাকে একটা কথা বল আমার একটা ডাউট আছে
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
এখানে একটা
Yeah,
কথা
Avirup,
বলতো যে ওই
So,
যে
sir, what kind of
গভর্নমেন্ট অফ
policy
ইন্ডিয়া
government of
যখন
India
amendment
should
করতে
implement to train its youth? Because most of the youths are untrained here. That's
তখন
actually a harsh
ওকে কি
truth.
থাকতে হবে
Because in colleges or in
মানে
school, you can
গভর্নমেন্ট
see
অফ
like
ইন্ডিয়া অ্যাক্ট যখন
not
অ্যামেন্ড হয়েছে
everyone is
তখন
a topper, or
ও বা ওর
the
পেরেন্টস
people
বা
who are not
ওকে
topper,
ইন্ডিয়াতে
they are
তখন
not
ওয়ান হতে
doing
হবে
very
তখন
great in
থাকতে
their
হবে
either life or
তারপরও
not
পাকিস্তান
contributing
গেছে
anything to the society. And most of and above all, sir, our schools and colleges are teaching something which is actually not that much of a useful thing. And
না দ্যাটস নট
about
মাই কোশ্চেন
education,
মাই
they are
কোশ্চেন
all
ইজ
taking
গভর্নমেন্ট
private
অফ ইন্ডিয়া
education.
অ্যাক্টটা
That's why
যখন অ্যামেন্ড
Byju's
হয়েছে
and other educational
তখন কি
platforms are growing,
ও বা ওর
because the
প্যারেন্টস বা
schools
ওর
are not
গ্র্যান্ডপ্যারেন্টস
proving
ইন্ডিয়ায়
effective
থাকতে
anymore,
হবে
and colleges also.
তারপর
So
ধরে না
how
পাকিস্তান
government of
গেছে
India should deal with
আর
this?
তবে ও 19 জুলাইয়ের আগে
So there are two
বেরোবে
parts of to this question.
এটা আমাকে বলতে পারবি
One is that I, in my personal capacity, feel that education is not something that is an absolute must for you to upskill, right? One who is willing to learn will learn irrespective of the institutional facility and irrespective of the immediate environment available to them. The zeal to learn, the zeal to upskill will enable them to learn what they feel they need to. And the youth in the country has started to realize that there are no more job seekers, right? They've started to realize that they can create jobs, right? And startups, the newer companies, the MSMEs are coming from areas with lower literacy levels, right? The government of India implemented a scheme called Stand Up India, which was designed to benefit scheduled tribe people, right, who want to start up and who want to be job creators. And you would be amazed at the number of startups it has been able to help create and the number of jobs it has been able to help create, right? So I would say that the institutional framework is good to facilitate something, but it is never a barrier that restricts your learning or upskill. But at the same time, this is something that has already been realized, that a lot of things that we are learning have started to be outdated. You might have heard about the new education policy that has been laid out by the government, and it is trying to accommodate and run parallel to the citizens' needs. See, the government will have to understand that the government, because of its inherent structure, used to lag behind the citizens' needs. The citizens' needs were today, and the government was fulfilling the needs of yesterday, right? But the government has started to run parallel to you. The government is seeking feedback. The government is taking your input, and the government is using its mandate to push for a policy architecture that can be renewed every year, depending the needs of that year. So there is sufficient push towards it already. But at the same time, we need to see that it is not a restriction. It is just a facility, so use it accordingly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Viro. Thank you, sir. So there's just one more question which we have received, and this person asks that because of social media, the youth of the country have so much to say. They have got this freedom of speech, wherein behind the screens they can say literally anything about anything, and this leads to conflicts and half knowledge of the people. And because of this, they have developed this habit they are not ready to accept their own problems, but before that they are always ready to question others and question the government in totality. So for this, there is a lack of awareness, and the first step towards any change is making people aware about what exactly the government or any individual is trying to focus upon. There exists this creamy layer of students, or not just students, creamy layer of youth who are, because of the personal privileges they hold, They are completely unaware about the ground level problems, about the problems which are actually problem for some of the people. They are not getting food, transportation, or basic needs, as we refer to roti kapda makan. And apart from that, the youth is busy fighting over petty things with half knowledge. So how do we address this problem? That the youth should be firstly aware as the first step, and after that we can focus upon anything else. So how do we promote awareness about this?
Yeah, I think as the famous saying goes, the world is as you see it, right? I'm not saying that the questionnaire. I'm not saying anything about the questionnaire about the person who's asking this question, but I'm just highlighting that we need to start being much more optimistic, right? The world today is not looking at the problems of others or how the other is not providing something. The world has realized, and we people, the youth has realized that it can take the initiative to take up a problem, solve it, and scale it, and build their vision into reality, right? So this is the optimism that we have been able to travel to in the last few years, and we need to continue traveling to. Some people have been able to keep pace with it. Some people might not have been able to keep pace with it. Let them be. This is an attitudinal change that you're talking about. Attitudinal change does not come overnight. Bring about a change in yourself. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Uh, Focus on yourself. The other people will get inspired from you. The other people will learn from you, and you will see the world will start to change sooner than you thought it will.
Absolutely, absolutely agreed. So before we end this session, I request all the participants to please turn on their camera for a group picture. Participants, can you please turn on your camera quickly for a group picture, please? Right, okay, thank you so much. This brings us to the end of the session, and I wholeheartedly appreciate and thank the participants who have graced this event with their presence. I also thank Lakshit sir for drawing time from his elaborately busy schedule to join the event, because your presence has concluded the event on the best note. I appreciate the organizing committee for their continuous efforts, and all the participants for their enthusiasm and sportsman spirit. Thank you so much. All of you have contributed to making this session a wonderful one. Have a good night, all of you. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Take care.
everyone. And on the last thing, I would just say it as you have been a great audience. I would request you guys to see if you can hold a physical event. It would be great to meet all the innovative, all the great minds that you have in your group.
কোনো ব্যাপার নেই
Namaste.
আচ্ছা
Thank you so much.
তারপর হচ্ছে